Of all the things that are missing from Mario Kart World, 200cc is easily one of the most sought after. But is it really necessary? Do we really need it? Or do we just want it because the previous game had it? Is this another Funky Kong situation where most of the players don't really like him because he's Funky Kong, but more because he used to have the best stats back in Mario Kart Wii? Well, the feature was so beloved that Nintendo decided to charge money for it in Mario Kart Tour. There it is part of the Gold Pass, which means it costs $5 a month. So in the eyes of Nintendo, 200cc is an experience worth paying for. But what about the players? To answer this question, I went back and played some 200cc races in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I can say with full confidence, yeah, it's fun. This is definitely something that changes the game quite a bit, since the tracks are the same, but the lines and how you take those lines on them changes completely. The difference is night and day. So what speaks against it? Well, the courses aren't designed for 200cc. Sure, they are way bigger now due to the increased player count, but that obviously also means that more players will be driving in 200cc, so that kinda reverts all the benefits again. The physics behind everything would also need to be overhauled, since you would fly way too far on most sections, especially on Great Question Mark Block Ruins. What a dumb name for Why not just call it Question Mark Ruins or something like a Great Question Mark Block Ruins? That's 5 words. You couldn't just copy the settings from Mario Kart 8, since the physics there feel a lot different from Mario Kart World, even in 150cc. So it wouldn't feel right, and I imagine they also have to do some more balancing when it comes to item distribution, since in Mario Kart World, the items depend on the distance you have to first place. Since you dive faster, you'll also have greater distances between players, but these distances would also be faster to close due to the increased speed. If they wouldn't adjust the items, you'd basically be playing on frantic items the entire time, not even mentioning how then frantic items would look. At the start of the Switch 2, the CPUs in Mario Kart World were hard. It was completely unfair and frustrating. Ever since then, they did something to the CPUs and now it's a bit fairer, but the main way they keep up with the players still remains the same as it has always been. They have to use items since they can't drive as optimally as humans do, or at least they didn't program that way. So if we wanted to design the offline races fair for everyone, we shouldn't just remain with the status quo and up the usage of items in order to compensate for the increased speed. I believe they should just increase the driver skill of the CPUs. But even if they decided against the skill increase of CPUs, they still needed some sort of update to compete with the player in 200cc, and that means, you guessed it, more work for Nintendo. Back when 200cc was first released, it wasn't that uncommon to play it online if you had a high number of points. Ever since then, the number of 200cc races online has decreased, and that isn't just by chance. Nintendo saw that most players actually disliked 200cc in online multiplayer. While I can't really relate to that opinion, I do think that it might be due to players wanting to compete in more skill-based environments, especially the ones with high points. 200cc is way more chaotic than 150cc, so I kinda do understand that the skill is less of a factor in these races, but I mean, you're playing Mario Kart. If you wanted to play something where skill matters, then go play Lounge or open a custom lobby, but Globals is just the wrong place for you. But chaos doesn't have to be something bad. Sometimes I want chaos, especially when playing with friends in 4-player mode. Mario Kart World to some point is based on chaos. All the items, obstacles, and 24 players in general contribute to chaos, so 200cc would fit in perfectly. Also, Mario Kart World is big on shortcuts, and what is also big on shortcuts? That's right, 200cc. Just think of all the shenanigans you could achieve with an entire 50cc more. To also come back to the arguments of the tracks, well, yeah, they aren't suited for 200cc, but neither were the Mario Kart 8 base game tracks. Personally, I think the entire fun of 200cc lays in struggling to make turns and bumping into everything. It also makes it way more satisfying if you finally learn how to drive a course without the need of an insurance call every time you do a lap. And I also do think the 200cc is to a certain extent already in Mario Kart World. There are certain sections where your speed is boosted and you do drive a lot faster. This kind of feels like 200cc, and it also feels really smooth. Now, aside from the benefits of fun in racing, I also do think that for this not very much liked open world, a 200cc mode would benefit exploration, as you could drive around faster. Obviously, they would then need to change the speed back to 150cc when you start missions, or they would need to retime every mission, but I don't think they're gonna do that. Wait, what does cc even stand for? Engine cc refers to the capacity of the engine measured in cubic centimeters. Fuck it, okay? Bigger motors.